Donc, nous allons commencer. Bonjour tout le monde. Bienvenue à ce webinaire organisé par la délégation délégation du Québec à Houston, pardon. Mon nom est Audrey Lauzon-Laroche. Je suis attachée commerciale responsable du secteur de la construction infrastructure et des sciences de la vie. Je vais passer la parole à ma déléguée, Madame Shingao, qui va se faire un plaisir de nous présenter le partenaire avec qui nous avons organisé ce webinaire. Le webinaire sera enregistré. Nous allons ensuite le partager avec les personnes qui se sont inscrites et aussi nous allons le mettre sur YouTube. Comme ça, vous pourrez le revisionner si jamais il y a des informations que vous n'aurez pas eu le temps de prendre, vous pourrez le revoir. Et aussi, on reste disponible pour vous, si vous avez des questions. Ça nous fait toujours plaisir de vous aider dans votre développement d'affaires ici au Texas. Donc, je vais passer la parole à Madame Gao. Aussi, juste avant qu'on commence, vous pourrez envoyer vos questions par écrit dans le chat et ça nous fera plaisir de leur répondre à la fin de la présentation. Merci. À vous l'honneur, Madame Gao.
Merci Audrey. Tout d'abord, j'aimerais remercier Audrey, notre attachée commerciale qui est responsable pour ce secteur. Elle a fait de bon travail jusqu'à maintenant et pour aider nos entreprises québécoises. Alors, dear speaker and share participant, it's a great pleasure to welcome you to today's webinar. C'est un grand plaisir de vous accueillir aujourd'hui et je tiens à vous remercier pour votre présence. Thank you for your participation. Je m'appelle Shingao, je suis la déléguée du gouvernement Québec basé ici à Houston, Texas. My name is Shingao. I'm the delegate of the Quebec Government Office here in Houston, Texas. With a dedicated team, I oversee the relations between Quebec and the states of Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. Some of you may or may not know, in 2020, le Texas était le premier partenaire commercial du Québec aux États-Unis et ce qui représente 11 milliards de dollars d'échanges commerciaux. So some of you may not know, Texas is Quebec's largest trading partner in 2020, representing $11 billion in trade. Texas is also the second largest economy in the United States and the 9th largest economy in the world. Today, we proudly partnered with the Dallas Economic Development Organization to organize this webinar and sharing with you the opportunities in the construction as well as the infrastructure industry here in Dallas. The greater Dallas metropolitan area has a population of approximately about 7.6 million. The metropolis between Dallas and Fort Worth right now is the third largest metropolis in the United States. The city of Dallas is considered one of the largest world's most dynamic and diverse economy. It has #1 market for domestic real estate investors as well as for foreign investors. It is the 5th largest growing metropolis for the tech jobs and #1 for talent attraction. Some of you may know, both in Texas and the city of Dallas, we have very competitive pricing for labor, logistics, warehousing, and there are no labor unions. There's very low business tax and no sales income tax. So this is only one of the reasons why the city of Dallas alone has 17 out of the Fortune 1000 headquarters. So today we're very, very fortunate and pleased to have our speaker, Ms. Iriko Rosell from the Economic Development Agency of Dallas to share with us the insight on how to do business and all the opportunities that the city of Dallas presents. Ms. Rosell has over 30 years of professional experience with the city of Dallas. She's an executive responsible for management of departmental finances of a budget around $140 million, as well as experience in other areas such as performance indicators, internal controls, audit-related matters, personnel, etc. She really have a long list of experiences. She also have a lot of experience in working with international delegations with Quebec, as well as Mexico, Spain, Japan, many countries in the Central and Southern American, and countries such as India, China, etc. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Ms. Roselle as our guest speaker to sharing with you today all the opportunities in her great city. Thank you. Merci. Over to you, Madame Roselle.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Good morning to everybody. And it is our pleasure to be a part of this session. And hopefully it will be, providing very useful information to you. So today we're focusing basically on the sectors of construction and renewable energies. And we added renewable energies because we saw that the profiles of some of the participants were in that industry area. So we will cover some of that as well. Again, my name is Hiroko Rosales. I am an assistant director in the Office of Economic Development. Here's part of my contact information just for your access whenever, if you have questions later on, or if you need one-on-one sessions in regard to specific issues that may want to be addressed by the businesses participating in this webinar. As you mentioned, Dallas kind of is the largest city, and we kind of go between being the third and the fourth largest metro. Houston is always trying to also compete for that spot. So at this time, based on the census data that we utilize for 2021, it is considered that we are the fourth largest metro, as well as the 9th largest city in the United States. Population now, they has been updated to 1.288 million. And for the metro area, 7.76, making it about a 16.6% of the metro population based on the census data for 2021. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas, Dallas is the business and financial service center for the state of Texas. And according to their information, Dallas has had a better performance in the recovery of the COVID versus other cities in the United States based on its diversified industry composition sectors. So it has been less impacted. As you can see, the 2021 figures, which have not been confirmed with the Fed yet, but based on the study that was published in October of this year, the metro area looks at $682 billion for the metro. In 2020, even though we had the pandemic upon us, it was $534.8 billion. As you can see, that number is higher than even the year before the pandemic. We'll go to the next slide to show that information, where pre-COVID, we were at $523.9 billion, which was slightly lower than even in 2020 when, the pandemic was, feeling its greatest impact on the populations, not just here, but obviously worldwide. Three largest sectors here are financial activity, as mentioned by the Fed, retail and wholesale manufacturing, and also an estimated 55.1% is a lot of it has to do with IT related fields, such as your artificial intelligence, biotech, fintech, robotics, innovation, a lot of research and development here in the industries, as well as partnerships with some of the local universities. Health is another area where we have a very prominent people, 6 Nobel Prize laureates at the Southwestern Medical Center, which is part of the University of Texas system. energy, cybersecurity, real estate, food processing, logistics, and others. Going to the next one. Again, some of the advantages, Dallas is considered to be one of the world's most dynamic and diverse economies. Again, that's why its resiliency. Number one market for domestic and foreign real estate investors, and we'll show you some information about that a little bit later on. Number one metro for talent attraction, access to over 3 million in workforce here in the metro area. Fifth largest, fastest growing metro for tech jobs. Competitive pricing, as Ms. Gao alluded to earlier in regard to pricing of labor, logistics, and warehousing. No labor unions, so no labor strikes. No personal state income tax, which is one of the biggest things and differences between the cities in the northeastern states in the United States and some of the other states in the US. DFW has approximately 45 Fortune 1000 corporate headquarters based on the 2021 data that has been updated recently. Again, Dallas being having a resilient economy because of its diversified industries, which means that even though you may have downturns in the economy, that there's enough diversification where not all of the sectors, not all of the industries have a downturn at the same time, thereby making it more resilient. Two major airports, DFW being the international airport and Dallas Love Field being the domestic, mostly focused airport. One multimodal inland port with major US rail lines that connect to all major cities in the United States. 5 major interstate highways centrally located. We're about 4 hours by plane to any corner of the continental US. So you are able to actually go to a meeting either on the East Coast, West Coast, leave in the morning and be back for dinner at home here within, reasonable time. We're also involved in the high-speed rail coming to connect Dallas and Houston via the Japan Rail Shinkansen technology. We're the 4th most diverse city in the United States, committed to being a green, sustainable city as well. So we have several other, several programs here related to development that address, that type of reduction of the carbon footprint. Top metro for family friendliness. Dallas prides itself on, focusing on that as well. In regard to education, according to the Federal Reserve Bank, Dallas has a pretty high percentage. We don't compare necessarily to Austin because Austin has a major university, obviously, that has a concentration of that population type. But if you look at Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio, Houston, El Paso, Dallas has one of the higher percentages in post-secondary degrees. Again, number one in tech jobs in the state, second in the US. Tech jobs here in our area make up about 20% of the employment base, which is, significant. 24 corporate innovation centers, 40 accelerators and incubators, fastest to market smart cities lab, 15 major universities in the metro area, which, as I mentioned, are very much involved in research and development and innovation. 11th most high-tech city in the world, number 1 of 3 in the national markets for fiber connectivity of 5G tech. We have approximately 10 light rail stations connecting 93 miles regional rail service, which means that people are able to go, different areas using public transportation. And if you came to Dallas about 20 years ago, there was hardly any kind of residential community here. Right now, downtown is about 88,000 in the city center, which means increases in a lot of the venues. Advantage here, DFW International Airport connects to, major cities in the world. A lot of the direct flights, 194 domestic destinations in the US, over 66 globally. As it relates to Canada, currently there are 4 direct flights and a second flight that was being added to Montreal. I believe that has happened. However, no direct flights to Quebec at this time based on the research, and alternative for DFW Airport may be through Montreal. We have at DFW cold chain facilities that allow the trade of perishables at DFW in transit to local, state, or national US distribution, as well as for international distribution into Australia, Asia, Europe, Mexico, Central and South America, and Africa. One of the advantages, again, of DFW here in our area is that it basically, carries a great deal of the airport air traffic. In regard to passengers boarding and deplaning, you can see that, of course, 2020 got the impact of COVID. It reduced to basically half. And then in 2021, the recovery, was pretty astonishing. And DFW right now, their statistics are only through April, but you can see that the numbers are significantly higher even for 2021 comparison, as well as their cargo and airport operations. Our domestic airport, the same thing. Their data through September of this year is showing a great deal of recovery stemming from the COVID impact. And we estimate that it's probably going to reach almost the level of pre-pandemic in the 2019 statistics. I think we can skip this one. Dallas has several economic development programs and incentives. Among them that would probably be of most interest to our audience would be the foreign trade zones and the free port tax exemptions, which allow for the duty-free importing of foreign made components into the zone. Where they can be assembled, manufactured, processed, or packaged. Duties are charged only when the product is distributed into the US market. If they are shipped to international markets, there is no duty levied. Provided ad valorem exceptions for goods that are detailed in Texas for 175 days or less. The incentive value depends on location of where the zone is located. In regard to what would be considered catalysts, the city does have programs that incentivize developments. Just purely in the downtown area, we can talk about, to date, about $400 million in public incentives, over $7 billion in private investment since 2010. And I will give you a statistic related to one of our programs that has been most successful, which is the tax increment districts. There are 19 currently that are active, and the property values from base year of their creation has multiplied by about 6.327 as of the last certified roll for 2022, from a base of about 3.475 billion to a certified value of about 21.982 billion. This does not even include private sector development outside of the 19 tips. So you can see that the development in the Dallas area has been pretty explosive. So what does this mean for you? Construction and renewable energies industries presence in Dallas. Construction related, there are approximately 434 in a listing that we will show you a sample of it. An estimated 103 of them are in the residential construction related business, and an estimated 251 in the heavy and civil engineering construction related businesses. In regards to renewable energy, we'll also show you a listing, and we'll provide you the listings for both industries, of which an estimated 305 are in Dallas and an estimated 347 in the DFW metro. So you can see that most of them are in Dallas. So we'll show you a glimpse of those tables. You want to show them? It's in the flash, sorry.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, well, your colleagues pulling up the file. I just want to say, Jessica Manala, up to now, your presentation is very impressive. As good Quebecers, we know so much about Dallas Stars and Dallas Cowboys. Actually, just 3 weeks ago, you know, the Montreal Canadiens just played against Dallas Stars. But Dallas is really, really reputable, like city that we all know, but we don't know all the growth in recent years, the population growth, the various sectors that you are really strong at. Those will be the clients for our Quebec construction and engineering companies, because it's for those infrastructure demand, housing demand. So we hope that if we could have a copy of your presentation after.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you. So back to you.
And you certainly, you have here before you a sample of the listing I was talking about. This is just one of them. This is related to the renewable energies. So we saw that in the profile of some of the participants for the webinar are companies that are looking for either doing maintenance, setting up windmill farms, or providing materials, equipment, or products related to it. So as you can see, we do have a few of them in here. As I mentioned, let me see, hold on a second. An estimated 305 of those companies are in Dallas, and at the metro level, 347. So most of them are in Dallas. But here are quite a bit of a few of them that are listed based on the last research, which was done late last week. As you know, companies come and go, but we try to provide people information as as close to up to date as possible. Some of the information that you will find there. And this is very small, I understand, but some of the information you will find in there is related to the, it provides you the company names, it provides you the registered executive name, the physical addresses, phone numbers, websites, company descriptions if available on the databases, primary standard industry codes, SIC, and their descriptions, primary national American industry classification codes, NAICS and their descriptions. I'm not sure how familiar the audience might be with these, but we will also provide information to links as to where to find these, and these are updated, of course, regularly by the industry, depending on what new classifications come on board or which classifications are no longer become obsolete. Also provides information regarding company employee size ranges and actual number of employees of the ones that are actually listed, the gross sales and the actual gross sales of the ones listed. It specifies whether that location is a branch or a single business location, credit scores, etc. And that's just a small, glimpse of it. But again, we will provide you that information, and so they can start, thinking about what kinds of contacts they wish to make, whether it's for, looking for a partner, looking for a client, looking for a customer, looking for a supplier, somebody to do a joint venture with for a project, so on and so forth. So I think this kind of information is based on what we have done with other delegations and businesses from other countries. It has become very useful to them, is what the feedback that I received. So I'm hoping that they experience the same thing. So, alrighty. Going to the next slide. The reason that we're here is what types of opportunities might there be, right? To enter into the local, state, and national markets in the US. So part of that would be procurements with local, state, federal US government agencies, as well as school districts, public, medical, clinical facilities, cities, counties, state, federal agency, quasi-governmental entities such as the Dallas Area Rapid Transit Authority, which basically runs buses and light rail for public transportation. The North Texas Tollway Authority, the NTTA, which maintains the toll roads in the area. The North Central Texas Council of Governments, which is involved in a great deal of projects that basically usually provide some type of funding grants to the local governments in the area for purposes of the greater good, if you would. Procurement related to services, maintenance and goods, materials, and innovation. Private sector opportunities to form partnerships with established local businesses, joint ventures on a project-by-project basis, and or pursuing business ventures on their own. Register as a vendor with government and or private sector retailers and our service providers and or developers. Some of the things that I'm mentioning here, post our meeting, we will be preparing a set of links to a lot of these different agencies so that you can start exploring, and if you wish to start your registration, in order to begin to receive information related to bids or proposal offers, for procurement purposes. Next one, please. So what kinds of things could you do with all of these agencies, and what kinds of procurements might you be involved in? Well, there's single-family housing developments, there are multi-family developments, commercial developments, mixed-use developments, office building developments. There, just for a little bit of measure here, approximately 20,000 permits were issued last year for construction, with an estimated value of development of $5.8 billion. So that's a lot of development work, if you would, just for 1 year here, just for Dallas. Also, we develop building, arts, and cultural facilities, police and fire stations, training academies, multi-purpose city community center facilities, libraries, schools, hospitals. There's a hospital district of which UT Southwestern is a big one, which belongs to the University of Texas system. Water purification and distribution, landfills, also building roads, bridges, parks and recreation facilities, walking, biking trails, deck park over the freeway. We already have one, the Clyde Warren Park, and we're looking at building a second one in the near future. We have a new upcoming $2 billion convention center facility that's going to get built shortly. The Brimer bill has just been authorized in the November election of November 8th by the public. So they're going to start basically collecting those fees as of January 1st of 2023. So that will be a very, very large development that's upcoming. So there's a great deal of construction type of opportunities there. Also redevelopment and repurposing of existing structures via the TIFs. As I mentioned, we have basically almost multiplied by, over 6 times their value from their initial creation to current as of the last tax roll. Also, of course, the high-speed rail anticipated development all around the Cedars area, because usually it's not just a high-speed rail that is going to be developed, but the area usually experiences, some type of a boost in development as well. Next one, please. In addition to the areas and possibilities that I just mentioned, you may wish to consider also leveraging the benefit of local firms that may already be certified into some programs that provide some advantages via joint ventures. Some of the local firms might already be what is considered to be MWBE or Minority or Women Business Enterprise certified hub, which are the historically underutilized businesses, and those basically apply to the state, and the DBE, which are disadvantaged business enterprises, which are the designation for these kinds of businesses for federal procurement purposes. Please note that according to the North Central Texas Regional Certification Agency, which does perform these kinds of certifications, foreign companies may not obtain the certifications themselves. However, because only citizens and those with legal resident alien immigration status may be certified to meet the criteria, and job visas do not qualify, but foreign businesses might still participate via a joint venture with a certified business on a project-by-project basis as a subcontractor of a local certified vendor. So in summary, there are various possible avenues to explore to find viable opportunities by which to enter into the local, state, national, U.S. markets. We hope that this leaves you with some thought-provoking ideas as you consider what Dallas might be able to offer and for you and your business in the way of possible advantages and benefits for conducting business here. We'll provide you some references there of the information that we provided you. And this pretty much concludes our presentation. I do want to, at this time, acknowledge that Mr. Ridvan Karimli, he is our economic development database and research expert who mines and analyzes data, whom also prepares all the core economic and industry data for the Office of Economic Development for official use. Also present are here Mr. Zaman Himani and Ms. Yuri Gomez, whom also collaborate on some of the presentations. I thank you for your kind attention, and I hope that you find this useful to explore your business and investment interests. Consider your possibilities, making Dallas, perhaps looking at it for investment, business venture, enjoyment of living as well here, or touring. We have a lot of fun here. And so basically that's pretty much concludes our presentation. If we have questions, and again, we will provide you links in the databases that we've referenced for the construction, residential, commercial, and the renewable energies. Does anybody have any questions at this time?
I look into the Q&A section, and there was only one person saying that they're interested to receive your presentation. Is there any questions people would like to ask? You please write it now. It seems that there's questions.
Well, maybe while people writing up their questions, think it through, and I really encourage people really take this opportunity to ask specific questions to Erico and her colleagues that's pertinent to your company. Just a little bit about our delegation. Donc, la délégation du Québec ici à Houston, on a un de 9 bureaux de délégation aux États-Unis. Alors, il y en a plusieurs attachés. Un des attachés, c'est notre collègue Audrey, mais juste peut-être, je vous invite Audrey à vous partager comment, c'est quoi notre rôle, comment aider nos entreprises québécoises.
Oui, exactement. Merci, Mme Gao. Donc, en fait, le rôle des délégations comme la nôtre, c'est vraiment de venir en support aux entreprises québécoises, que ce soit pour le développement de nouveaux marchés, donc s'ils souhaitent venir s'installer ici, ou encore s'ils souhaitent trouver des distributeurs, des fournisseurs, ou encore faire des ventes directes. Chaque entreprise a ses propres objectifs et besoins. Donc, le processus est assez simple. On travaille avec Investissement Québec. Il y a une analyse qui est faite de leur côté à Montréal et ensuite, une fois qu'on a déterminé la stratégie, par exemple pour les États-Unis, quel territoire vous souhaitez cibler, on est mis en contact avec l'entreprise et c'est de cette façon-là qu'on travaille ensemble, donc à la recherche de leads. On va collaborer, on va faire des introductions et ensuite, c'est à l'entreprise de prendre le relais, bien sûr, et de continuer les discussions en privé et dans l'objectif final, ben, de faire des ventes et donc de grandir la richesse québécoise. C'est l'objectif de tout le monde. Donc, en gros, c'est ça. On couvre plusieurs secteurs, comme Mme Gao disait. Moi, pour ma part, je fais construction, infrastructure et sciences de la vie. Mais il y a des personnes aussi qui sont responsables du secteur du transport, aéronautique ou encore industrie créative, dans le commerce au détail, les énergies propres ou encore les technologies. On a parlé, Mme Yoroko a présenté les technologies là, comme étant un secteur important aussi à Dallas. Donc, je vous invite fortement là, à travailler avec Investissement Québec et de vous mettre en relation avec les bons attachés sur les territoires que vous ciblez. Donc, je pense qu'aujourd'hui, on a pu démontrer le potentiel de Dallas. On espère que cette présentation-là fera partie d'une série de d'autres présentations pour les autres secteurs. Donc, ça se peut que vos entreprises couvrent différents secteurs. Donc, ça se peut que vous receviez encore d'autres invitations pour vous joindre à nous.
C'est ça. And I'll just switch to English while Audrey check to see if there's any questions. And we've been speaking French a lot, and I want to loop in our colleague here in Dallas. So in addition to working through Investissement Québec or Montreal International, Quebec International, you know, or many other organizations in Quebec, which we partner closely as a delegation based here on the U.S. territory that permit us to build great relationships, such as with the Oracle and her organization with the city of Dallas. What that means is that when you send the question to us to say, I want to focus on restoration of historical buildings, or just as an example, right? And then our attaché will help to do a first analysis. And sometimes your sector or your work, we already have a report prepared because regularly we prepare and getting contractors to prepare for us the étude de marché, so market studies. And we do have a few already done, and then we can share that with you. But when you have specific questions, our attaché will share their knowledge, do the research for you. And if we have more difficult questions, we'll use our privileged network with the city to say, okay, what more can you share with us? Or there's a big enterprises here where there's a big project coming up. Could you help us and help our companies to put them in contact with, say, the group who's going to renovate the new convention center, as an example? So, and then the city of Dallas, the mayor of Dallas a few years ago had taking a delegation trade mission to Montreal. So we have this two-way of trade facilitations, and that's our mutual goal. So with that, maybe I'll pass to Audrey to see if there's other questions, or Erico to see if there's specific things you would like to add.
No questions on our side.
No questions?
No.
No questions? Well, either we were too thorough or not thorough enough. I know it takes sometimes people a little bit of time to, absorb all that information and actually start thinking about how they want to use it and, how they can best benefit or start their exploratory journey, So absolutely, we will be sharing information. I will be sending you the links in regard to if, and if they want to request specific information, they can always do that as well to the contact information we shared. But we have, I believe, what is a very good opportunity for them to start linking just by registering. I mean, the city of Dallas makes purchases of over $1 billion every year. So there are many different kinds of opportunities for them. And that's just the city of Dallas, It's one of so many here, even in the region. We have over 200, cities in the metro area. So that is a lot of opportunity for them to sign up, register, and start receiving, requests for bids, requests for proposals, requests for qualifications. Just register as a vendor. It doesn't even have to be an MWBE certification issue at this point, if they just want to register as a vendor. And especially with the issues with supply chain, the more they places that they plant their seed, if you would, their name, their registration into the different vendor databases, the more opportunities that will come their way. One thing I do want to emphasize is that it is very important for them to be able to identify the appropriate SIC codes and the NAICS codes, because that's how normally most of the government agencies send out their procurement opportunities. Is they select the types of SIC codes or NAICS codes, and that's how they select from the vendor database those that are registered under those codes and send out the request for bids, the request for proposals, the request for qualifications for the different projects. And so, I would encourage that. Texas is a huge state, but you can even just start with, a cluster, and depending on what they're interested in. We buy anything from bullets to bugs because we have a zoo. Airports, we have a water, all the treatment plants, we have landfills. We have actually a Spanish company on site at the main landfill because they do the plastics. They do the recycling market for plastics and stuff like that. So we do have foreign companies. Some of the cover holes for the streets were French. So, we purchased from, international companies, as well as domestic companies. And, there's no, I could say almost that the sky's the limit, but really if they pursue their options and their opportunities, it's almost limitless.
You're absolutely right, Erico. Actually, 70% of Quebec's export go to United States. We see ourselves in North America, one continent is very much part of your supply chain. Our companies knows well the building code, the engineering code. So therefore, it's very easy for us to integrate to meet your needs. And just un petit mot à nos entreprises. So for our enterprises and for the city of Dallas, we have many very successful Quebec companies already present here, from the very large in the world. WSP, it's one of the largest globally engineering infrastructure companies. In Houston alone, I know they hired about 600 employees. So, and then you probably heard about SNC-Lavalin from Quebec. In 2017, they bought Atkins, which is a local Texas company all over the place. So we have very large leaders globally. They come here, they have many sub offices they open up in your cities, or they purchase become owners of existing enterprises.
Mhm.
So for our Quebec companies, Erico talked about partnership. We absolutely encourage you to find a local partner in Dallas. And this is something the city of Dallas could help you as well in order to permit you to bid on projects. At the same time, as a delegation, we encourage you and we help you to put in contact with the big Quebec leaders who are already very successful. So they are the aggregators, and your company could be the tier 2, tier 3 suppliers, right? When they land a big
Mhm.
project to do a windmill, what have you, then your infrastructure expertise can be hired. So just making the connections as well. We hear a lot from Quebec companies coming here to say, oh, we need local reps, we need local workers, we need offices. Those are the service. From talking to Erico in the past, the city of Dallas would love to help us to find local workers from Dallas, to find a location to set up your shop. So that's another service that our delegation can work together with city of Dallas to help you.
Absolutely, and like I mentioned, we have many universities here that participate with the private sector industries, both in research, innovation, development. And so those are usually also could be your future workers as well. They come, from all walks of life in all levels of education and stuff. So also the community college, the local community college, if you have people that want to eventually develop a manufacturing, kind of operation here, and they're going to need some workers to work locally here, they provide incentives that come from the state to subsidize part of that training cost. Be it that you bring an expert that's going to train the trainers, and or that you want to do some of your own training at their facilities, or that they can come to the workplace and do the training once you let them know what you want people to be trained on, as well as testing to make sure that when they finish, that they're enabled to, just go and work rather than have a surprise of like, oops, this person didn't work out, kind of thing. I mean, you're always going to have some of those situations, but it cuts down on that. It minimizes it, those kinds of things. And usually whenever we're looking at incentives, if anybody actually does want to start, putting a distribution center or something to that effect, we're usually capable of finding locations where there may be some warehousing available, depending on the types of needs that they have, whether it's high ceilings, near railroads, access, near, having great access to water, energy, so on and so forth. So, we tried our best to package those incentive types of programs and availabilities, whether it's directly from the city and or the ones that come from the state through the city, to benefit the people that are interested in making an investment or a business venture here.
Perfect. I hope that, through today's presentation that allowed you and all of us made a new friend, a strategic friend of our colleagues based in the city of Dallas and Dallas Economic Development Agency. And Dallas is a very welcoming place to do business. Like many places in Texas who have a strong reputation, probably you have heard that especially during the pandemic, many big enterprises have left California, left New York, all relocated to Texas, and many went to Dallas, as well as many workers all went to Sunbelt areas, such as the city of Dallas.
Right.
That's why, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and also, a lot of businesses of foreign origin are also interested. Well, what about the finances? And what about the permits? And what about, the legal issues? What we do is basically, I do make referrals to the Association of Accountants, to the association, the legal ones, the Texas and the Dallas Bar Association, so that they can, explore the possibilities of all the different kinds of firms. They also have ratings and everything to make sure that, people don't end up in bad hands, right? So they have information about any kind of discipline or any kind of bar that they may have had in their, professional history or whatever. So it gives people an ample profile of those that are within those associations, and gives you an opportunity to explore and make a choice, of whatever it is that you're looking for in the types of expertise, tax issues related to, whether it's single taxation, double taxation, permits, visas, all that kind of stuff. So, that they can get a good holistic, set of context for assistance.
Exactly, and then those are free of charge offered by City of Dallas, as well as notre délégation aussi on ici pour vous servir. And what I want to say is that maybe after this webinar, we can reach out to each one of you just to hear if you have specific questions. And then we will also send you the market study. I think Audrey will en a fait un l'année dernière for market study in the construction sector. So we'll share it with our audience. And I think the key is more drilling down to understand what you need. Today, just an opener to give you an idea about the strength of Dallas, the growth areas, how to do business, especially how to do business with procurement with the City of Dallas. And let's continue this dialogue. And what else? Maybe I'll pass to Audrey and Erico to have the final words.
Donc, je veux tout simplement vous remercier. I want to thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Thank you, Hiroko. It was a pleasure working with you for the past few weeks together, getting ready for this webinar. And I hope it's the beginning of a great partnership.
Absolutely. We're here to help.
Merci.
Anything you need that we can help with, we'll be more than happy.
Wonderful. Have a good day, everybody.